up, everybody? Welcome to Take Me Off Your List. Today, I get to take someone off my list that I I've respected off of LinkedIn for I don't know, maybe a decade. I don't even think I had gray hair. I probably was a young lad with a helicopter hat, beanie hat, like cap when I first saw her content on LinkedIn and stuff. Everyone say hi to Leslie Venetz, founder of the sales-led GTM agency. What's up, Leslie?
Hi, Ryan. I'm so jazzed to be here. Yay. 2018 is when I started posting content and we were one of the first, you were one of my first connections. So yeah, it's been a minute.
I feel like, you know what's crazy? When you hear 2018, you think like, oh, that's not that long ago. Dude, that's 7 years ago.
I
That's
know.
nuts. It's crazy to me. Yeah, we were, for people that don't know, LinkedIn video didn't really come out till like early 2018. And that was kind of like, if you were in the beta and you got in, like you could post videos out. And that was sort of like, there was this whole cog of sales creators and people that were putting content out, Leslie being one of them, obviously. So, what's up? What are you doing? Tell the people what the hell you've been doing. Like it's exciting.
Yeah. My gosh, I have been booked and busy. I think a lot of people know this about me, but I did not aspire to entrepreneurship. And so when I decided to leave my corporate job to do the sales led GTM agency as a full-time job instead of a passion project, I kind of did it with the thought in the back of my head, I may not like this. I may be lonely. Maybe it won't be for me. I'll try it out for a year. And if it's not for me, I'll just go back into corporate. So here we are 3+ years later, and I'm living my best life, like working a 4-day work week. We were talking about this before we went live. I'm in
What
the
a dream.
final.
What a dream. 4-day
I
work
know.
week.
I
It's all I
know.
want. It's all I
It's
want.
amazing. It's amazing. It's one of those things, and you get this though, that part of the privilege of certainly being a solopreneur, but even a lot of the hybrid work environments that we're now in provide a little bit more flexibility, certainly more than I had when I was on the sales floor with 200 people. You better be in at 8, you better not leave before 5, and you better get in your 200 dials. So I'm really enjoying the freedom. And I'm using it to just do all of the things I've always wanted to do. So I have my book coming out in August. I host a business book club unrelated to my book, but I love reading. I love
I
books.
hope you put your butt. You have to figure out how to Inception, like go to like your book
No,
club with
it
a
won't work
mustache on.
though. The book club is very much like business. It's not for salespeople. It's just for business.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, oh, I have this book club that I've been running for 4 years, and I have 120 members, and I won't be able to do my own book, but that's okay. They're incredible, and they've all promised to buy it and support and do all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
book club, I started a second company to host events. So I have a sales leadership master class coming up in April in Arizona, April 8th, Lori
Yeah.
Richardson and Blake Hudson and Christine Rogers. So I'm collaborating with cool people. I'm doing keynotes. I'm writing my book. I'm having conversations with people like you that I've known for years, but rarely get to collaborate with. So, oh, things are moving and grooving, Ryan.
So okay. A lot of stuff has changed since we first were putting stuff out on LinkedIn since 2018. And I've been noodling all these changes and stuff. I like using the word noodle. Why don't we gotta bring noodle back? That's gotta be a verb people say, right?
13 out of 10, I support this.
There, in fact, studies showed that if you use the word noodle in your copy, optimization for your landing pages goes up 800%. And that's not a made up fact.
Wait,
It might
seriously?
be. No, 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 it's a made up
I was like, that's
fact.
insane.
People,
Who studied that?
everyone scrambled. Everyone scrambles like, we gotta update our landing pages. Oh my God. um, you know what's funny? So you mentioned like a 4-day work week. I actually think that like one of the things that is obviously on everyone's mind is like, hey, what's AI gonna do for our jobs?
Mm.
Like, and honestly, it's weird because it's like there's everyone's like, oh, AI is not gonna replace you. It's like a tool that you use in addition to your job. But like, let's be real for a second. We're probably in our lifetime. I don't know how old you are. I'm like almost 30, 38. I'll be 38 in July, right? In our lifetime, we're probably gonna see the 40-hour work week go away. That's my guess.
You think so?
I don't know. Like I think like I don't know. I actually don't know what's going to happen when that happens. Cause like,
I feel like we're seeding back into the dark ages. So I feel like a 4-hour work week it's amazing. It feels aspirational though, because I'll tell you why. Because I think you and I agree that the ideal use of AI would be to reclaim time.
yep.
But the way that I primarily am seeing it used is like to replace writing and to replace art and to like unload the spam cannons on our poor prospects. Like, so maybe in our lifetime, right? Like I'm also an elder millennial, so
Yep.
hopefully I'll have another 40 plus years on this beautiful planet. But
Yep. Yep.
I I don't know. We'll see if and when AGI becomes a thing and we have AI that is much smarter than the AI we have now. Like I can't even get my chat to stop freaking including M dashes,
Oh
even though
my
I have
gosh.
added it to the memory like 15 times. So I think I feel less than optimistic if it can't even remember to not put M dashes in everything that it writes for me.
You know what it does for me that drives me nuts? So Pitchfire, when I got the domain and changed the company name, I really on purpose wanted the F to be lowercase. Like I wanted it to look like one word, not like pitch fire, because I don't
Yeah,
want people to put a pause in.
fire.
Everything that someone puts in, like all these AI models, they uppercase the F, and it drives me nuts because I'll see people that like, it's funny. I can usually tell when someone made a post about us that with AI because the F is uppercase. Like that's usually how I can tell.
Totally.
Like I know, I mean, I appreciate them doing it and helping our brand get out there and stuff, but it's like I know what they did. I can see it. I had to like set mine, and it just has to keep updating. But
Yeah.
like the reason I bring it up though is it's like I also was thinking about from the perspective of like if I'm a company and all these now that like one of the other things that obviously has changed the past 5 years is there's so many more remote roles than I think there was 10 years ago. You kind of don't have a lot of different ways to differentiate because you don't have a different office or you don't have different perks that you can put in and stuff. So like one of the things I think you'll start seeing is these companies doing like we're going to switch to a 4-day work week. I'm going to offer you 20% less pay, but you only have to work 4 days a week. And then someone can use that extra day to do fractional. They could use that extra day to do something else, or they could just take the time off and take the hit in payment and salary and stuff if they'd like. Maybe I don't know. Like, that's how I was kind of thinking about it a little bit. Like it's not just AI, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I guess I can see that. So what I was imagining, because and I know you feel this way as well, that like we should not be paid for our hours, we're paid for our outputs.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I was thinking of like of course, because we are still delivering the same outputs, like the data unequivocally shows we do not need to be chained to our desk for those 40 hours a week to like
Yeah.
get the
Yep.
jobs done.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was thinking same amount of pay, 4-day work week. And
True.
I just
True.
don't see corporations going for that. But if it is framed as like reduce your headcount spend, still get same outputs, then the benefit for them is they're spending less on their FTEs, and then the FTEs get the 4-day work week, maybe can have another side hustle. Okay. I
Yeah. I don't know.
I
I'm
can
just
see it.
spitballing here. I'm
I
not an
know
expert. I'm not
it's
a
so fun to
visionary.
ponder on. And I also like I love thinking about AI. I love testing all of the new tools. Like in my business, like
Yeah.
I do strategy processes people and I avoid tech stack like the freaking plague. Like I am not a rev ops person. I am not a tech stack person. But
Yep.
in my personal life, I have the most aggressive tech stack you can imagine. I was doing my taxes, and I get a ton of my tech stack for free because I have so many like advisory roles and like brand evangelism roles.
Yeah.
And even with all of the tech that I get for free, I still spent over $10,000 on my tech stack last year as a solopreneur.
Whoa. What? All right. What's your most expensive thing?
Zoom Info, but I
Okay.
get Zoom Info for free, but that's like the most expensive piece of tech that I use.
Yep.
HubSpot is the most expensive one that I use and I pay for.
Yep.
And I also have a real issue with buying domains on Squarespace.
I'm addicted too. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Confession, everyone. You ready for this? Sit down. I might own over 90 domain names.
I think I'm at like 50. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh,
It's terrible.
that's how you know we're both like go to market people.
Every time I
Well,
have an idea, I go buy the name. Like before
uh,
I tell anybody about the idea, I go and I buy the domain.
you want to hear a cool tip you could do? Because you do a lot of ambassador stuff for people online, right?
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, obviously, if people listening, you know, maybe you don't know this, but LinkedIn doesn't like when you put links in your post, because if you put links in your post, it takes you off LinkedIn and they stop making money if you leave LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So one of the tips that I've been doing is whenever I've got something cooking, like a podcast or something I want to send someone to, I actually will like go register a domain and I'll orally say the domain in my video and just have it redirect to the longer link. So like instead of being like link in the comments or any of that stuff,
Oh.
I'll just so a good example. Last year, um, Pitchfire we did a conference called Conference Con, and we were trying to make fun of conferences. Like that was part of the idea. We did like an online conference for like every talk was a game, like everything. Like we did a fantasy go to market fantasy draft where people drafted technology. We did like a hot take debate where people had to introduce a hot take and then everyone had to crap on it. Like we did like fun formatted stuff over a 5 hour period live streaming. To promote it, I got the domain conferencesaresstupid.com. And I
Yeah.
had the conference redirect to our landing page instead of like setting up a whole separate site. It just redirected to a Pitchfire page to register. But like all our plugging, I just orally said conferencesaresstupid.com in the post and then had it redirect. And I do this like all the time with different stuff that we're doing just to make it easier, and I'll change where it redirects.
That is smart. I
You could
don't
use
think
some of
that
those
I can
domains,
pick
like
up. Yeah, but Ryan, then I'm also going to pick up a landing page habit. And like I already have a domain habit. I don't need to build on top of it a landing page habit. But I hear you. I mean, I just at this point like 1500 days in a row plus a posting on LinkedIn, I just don't have enough F's to give. And
is
so
that your streak? You've posted 1,500 days in a row?
yeah, like at least because I was looking at the article when I hit 1,000 days and it was July 2020. No, so that's how math works. It was July 2023.
Wow.
So
That's
it's like about
insane.
yeah, it's about 1,500 days now, which is insane. So I just post the links and then every once in a while I'll go on a rant where I'm like, dang it, LinkedIn, bring pinned comments back.
Yeah.
But when I do videos, I will say the URL for sure, or I'll like, I mean, I picked this up from TikTok where I'll put like, like revenue revelry and then space and then like the circle emoji space calm.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you don't want to actually have the link. Yeah. So
totally.
all I do is just say the redirect and then like do that. But it's cool. It's cool. All right. So let's go into this because this is fun. How the hell do you come up with stuff to post, and how do you get people to see it? Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So this is like my dirty little secret.
Hold on. You
I
got to
bat
for people who's watching video on this. You got to look around first.
like to
I'm
see if
gonna.
anybody is like,
Yeah. You're like I'm gonna tell you my secret. You got to be theatrical. There, we hyped
wait,
it
and
up.
then I
Okay.
gotta do the wait.
Oh
Like
yeah,
gotta
yeah, yeah. I know what you're gonna do. I know what you're gonna do. Go ahead.
and then I gotta do this is my dirty little secret.
You guys don't understand. Before the recording, I was like, "Whoa, we should do that Zoom in the recording." That was incredible. All right. Watch this. This is how you make clips. Ready? Watch this, guys. Leslie's about to tell us her secret to getting engagement on LinkedIn.
I batch create all of my content. So
Mhm.
that is like the most important transition I made early on was to take all of the pressure off of myself to post daily, even to post weekly.
Yep.
And I batch create every 2 to 4 weeks now. And that takes so much pressure off because I then give my space to like go into a creative workflow.
Yep.
The way that I come up with my ideas twofold. One is that I have two phones. And so whenever I have an idea, I just text myself.
You refuse to use the notepad?
I don't even use notes. I use notes for a lot of other things, but no, I don't even use notes. I literally just text myself.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh my gosh, you have 50,000 followers and you're like prolific on LinkedIn. How do you do it? Like, what's your content strategy? What's your pillars? And everybody assumes that I have this like really next level, like crazy process and strategy. But what I have found works best for me is just literally texting myself ideas anytime I have them. And then I sit down and I batch create and I scroll through my text messages. And like sometimes I'm like, that's insane. Like, were you drunk? Like what? And then other times I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. And then I batch create all the posts.
Yeah. I'm so worried people will see my notes. Like just see my notepad with bad ideas. Cause some of the ideas are trash that I come up with. Like you guys usually, like if I put something out, like someone might see the good part, but the bad parts are like really embarrassing. Some of the bad ideas. I mean, but like the other thing I was going to say is, so you batch create for people that don't know, like what she's literally is saying, like, I'll go do all this stuff in one long go. Do you get burned out or run out of energy doing that in one day?
I don't, but I've also spent a lot of time like rewiring my brain to do deep work. So when I started, I could maybe do like an hour and a half to 2 hours at a time. And then I would really start feeling mental fatigue. Like now I can bang through like 8 to 10 hours and be fine. I mean, I have to stop for like a snack, but I can really like bang through a lot of content. So I do the same thing for TikTok.
Yeah.
I'll record all my videos and then I will later edit them. I recently in Q4 of 24, I did a like 90-day Twitter sprint just to see if that could be a different text first channel.
How'd it go?
Well, fine.
You're great at your TikTok game's awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
It's really good.
I suck
at it. I feel like it's weird. I love video, but like the thing I really struggle with is vertical video, and I need to get better at it. Like I'm so used to having this wide frame to do stuff, and when I'm doing this, I'm like I'm locked in. You
know what you need to do, Ryan? Like this, like give yourself this space. Well, this doesn't really work because now I'm zoomed in, but this is what I have been told. I literally have like a content coach who very funny, like made his name working with OnlyFans creators. And now he's like moving on to B2B. So I'm like, hey,
I'm basically an OnlyFans creator.
I mean, right. You still want your hands in the screen, but you want to put your captions up here.
Yeah.
And so just like move where your screen is and it'll be amazing. But yeah, I love TikTok because I can be a little bit more unhinged in a way that I like wouldn't feel comfortable being on LinkedIn because it's still a professional platform. The Twitter sprint was interesting. I am like absolutely obsessed with Canva, and I still use the Canva content planner, which people don't even know exists, but they have like a whole content calendar where you can pre-schedule your posts. So speaking of batch creation, I literally sat down and it took me about 10 hours on a Sunday, but I scheduled all of my posts out for a full 90 days on Twitter. So I did 3 to 5 every weekday and then just 1 on Saturday and Sunday, all in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I let it sit there.
Yeah.
Because I do not have the capacity to develop a third platform where I'm building community. So I really needed to see if it was something I could use to just build audience. And I got about 30,000 views and about 500 followers. So it wasn't a failure by any means. Like 30,000 views, I wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and with a slightly different audience, or like people are seeing me then on a secondary platform. But I don't think it's the right platform for me. My sort of takeaway is that for Twitter to really work, you need to be there engaging, and I simply don't have the capacity. capacity to add a third platform.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of felt like, for me, I felt like I used Twitter back in the day a lot more when it was like first targeting startups. And
Mm,
once I moved into sales, a lot more of my effort like changed to LinkedIn. Like that's kind of where it shifted over. The stuff that I
yeah.
used, I would 2011, 2012, when I was working at Dine as a BDR and SDR, and then eventually in marketing, I literally would just have TweetDeck open on a monitor at my desk. I had three monitors, and one would just have TweetDeck all day, and like and I would engage. If someone was commenting
Yeah.
on anything about managed DNS or infrastructure or something, I was coming in and piping in with something or giving some commentary and kind of built up an audience that way. And same with startup funding and things like that. And then like it just kind of changed too much for me. Like, and I when I started working at Lead IQ, it was like, oh, it's time for me to like really hone in on sales tech and do stuff there. And sales reps are hanging out on LinkedIn every day because that's
Yeah.
where they prospect and stuff.
100%. Yeah.
So, so
You want to hear me? I have to tell you something that's absolutely hilarious.
yeah,
Because I will often think of myself as like my first platform I ever built was LinkedIn. And then I have to remind myself that it was maybe like Poshmark. I still have like 300,000 followers on Poshmark, but it was Quora. Like at the same time that people were like really loving Twitter,
yeah,
I was like steady answering every question about sales there was on Quora. My content has like millions of views on Quora. I
that's
one year,
awesome.
I think in like 2016, I got invited to their retreat in like Palo Alto, and I got this like really nice, I think it was like a Patagonia like branded bag, like Quora 2016 top question answer.
That's funny.
So right, it is funny, and it also is like so indicative of how platforms evolve and how like you might be making good content just on the wrong platform.
Yeah, yeah. You know who? Someone that talks about this a lot. Do you know who Ross Simmons is? You ever see his content on LinkedIn?
That sounds so familiar. Probably.
So people that are listening to this, you should totally go follow him. He started a company called Foundation and Distribution AI, and he has like an agency, and basically what they do is you hire them, and they help you with getting content that you make distributed to different places. And their agency's really good at like helping you with repurposing stuff. No free ads. They did not pay me to sponsor this. I saw him do a great keynote. One of the words that he talks about
Yeah.
is content market
This
fit.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, he talks about content market fit. So like you might have great content and you might have the right audience, but you might be using it in the wrong spot. And so like that's why it's important to cast a wider net and get, for example, I might take this conversation with Leslie and turn it into like a blog post and like say 5 things I learned about promoting yourself on LinkedIn. Now it's a blog post based off the
Yeah.
transcript. And then you could go throw that up on Reddit or Quora and be like, here are some tips if someone's like, how do I get my LinkedIn profile seen? You can go comment on that. And what ends up happening is you'll start finding a spot where the people that you know and the people you have access to, you'll get traction there and you can kind of stick into that spot and do it over and over again.
Yeah. That's
It's kind of,
brilliant. Well, I gave him a follow. I was not following him, so thanks for the suggestion.
yeah. Well, the other thing that he kind of said that made, you want to hear something really embarrassing? I love this. This is fun. We got to talk more because I just feel like there's a lot of stuff we have in common. This is really embarrassing. You know that I didn't repost content that I made for like years.
Like you used it once and then never again.
Yep, I did that probably for 4 years on LinkedIn as a creator. I made probably 2 or 3 videos a week, and I would not repost a video unless I was on vacation. That was the only time I ever did it.
Do you see I have to like pick my jaw. Okay, but to be fair, I also had that mental hurdle. I know a lot of people have that mental hurdle because especially when you're new to posting content, I think for me at least there was an assumption that like everybody was seeing everything I was posting. So if
Me
I
too. Me
reposted
too.
it, they would be
Yeah.
like, "Ew, Leslie, I already saw that." And then I had to, like hold my hands gently while I admitted that like people aren't seeing everything I post, and even if they are, like they're busy and I'm not the center of their universe, so they probably forgot about it and they won't care if they see it again.
So the reason I brought that up though was I saw a clip from Ross talking about like don't post once, post this thing 30 times or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Like it was like probably 2020 when this was
Yeah.
happening. Like years of creative ideas where I make stuff with music or like because like I used to do stuff like I made a video called Sales and Musical where we did like a trailer of like a Tony Award winning show called Sales and Musical. Literally posted it once, probably broke 200 or 300,000 views on it. Never posted it again.
Post it again this week. I want to see that.
Well, maybe I might not have it anymore because it was when I was at Lead IQ. But like we used to just do stuff like this all the time, and like I never, my brain just didn't realize it. So if you're a marketer or you're a person at a company listening to this and thinking about brand building and stuff, like
Yeah.
Leslie has done really well. That's one of the things you can do. Let's talk about the book you're building or the book you're writing. What do you what you're working on a book? What?
A book. Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, so it's called Profit Generating Pipeline, a proven formula to earn trust and drive revenue. Title iteration like 32, but that one's locked in.
Okay, you
And
can't change it now. It's too
can't
far, right?
change it. I can't change it now. And so you know what I will say that I have aspired my entire life, like since childhood, to be an author, to write a book. I don't think that like 9-year-old Leslie imagined that it would be a book about B2B top of funnel excellence, but here we are.
Yeah.
And when I started the writing process, Ryan, I think I was laboring under the delusion that it would be easy, or at least like easy on the scale of how easy it is for me to write short form content on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops, I was wrong. So wrong. Couldn't have been more wrong. I really struggled in year one of writing the book to the extent that I felt like I was about 60% of the way through it. And it was good content, but it felt much more like a playbook than a book. And that was not what I wanted. Like I wanted to write a book with compelling stories and like a
Yep.
narrative arc. And I sort of got to the point that was like, I don't know, maybe I'm not like book author writing material. And then I thought about it more and was like, that's stupid, Leslie. You just need help. You've never written a book before. Why did you think you could just do this by yourself? So I hired a writing coach. And then
Good idea.
last year worked with the writing coach all year to create something I'm super, super proud of, shipped it to my publisher in November. And so now we are in the they just got back their first round of developmental edits. And so I'm actually going to be in Cartagena all week next week, and I'll be doing that like big last revision.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy amount of work. I deeply underestimated how much work it was to not just publish a book, but publish the type of book that will be a USA Today bestseller.
Who you publishing through?
I'm not going to say their name.
Okay, so can I give you? I've had book authors on before, and I actually talked to someone years ago about like, how do you get your book to do well? You have want to hear the free sample for people listening. Free sample on something. I can't remember who it was that I was talking to, but if you want to get your book to be a bestseller after you write something, let's say you write a business book or something, one of the easiest ways to do it is to pair up the book with a business that can sell it to their customers. Because
that is the only way to do it. That's not that is literally the only way to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to get on a list, and I don't mean like Amazon bestseller, I mean like indie press, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, like if the stars and moons align, New York Times, you really need to sell like a minimum 3,000 copies before you launch the book.
Yep.
That's like crazy. And what's really interesting is that to get on more of like the editorial lists, they look at individual purchases. So it can't even be like, you had like whatever Fortune, like 500 companies, your client, and they buy 2,000 copies and they ship it to their headquarters. It needs to be individual purchases.
So that's gonna be a whole thing, and you guys are gonna see more of Leslie pushing this book like crazy. You gotta get it when it comes out. So in the book though, what are I know we've been talking for a while, but can we go into this a little bit? Is that cool?
Sure, yeah.
What are we going to see in the book? Like, what are some of the things that we're going to learn?
Yeah. It is very top of funnel focused, top of funnel strategy focused. When I say top of funnel, I mean everything through deeply understanding your ICP. So, like, really picking a segmented set of ICPs and then having copy that is tailored to them. So, it's sort of under the umbrella of territory strategy through to the actual like messaging and outreach, and then ends at discovery meeting, because the hill I will die on is that the disco is the last step in the top of funnel practice, because it's where you decide whether or not that's a qualified prospect you're going to have a real sales conversation with. So that's the span. And it approaches it both from a strategy perspective, and there certainly are some like very tactical things that folks can take and immediately put into use, but also approaches it from a bit of a like a mindset perspective, in that, and you've seen me use this hashtag a million times on LinkedIn, like my hashtag earn the right, but pushing the sales leader, the reps that read it, to ask themselves, what have I put in this email that earns me the right to even ask for the reader's attention? Like, how have I prepared for this discovery meeting in a way that earns me the right to ask for this time, to ask for this attention? So you see that thread of a bit of a challenge, a bit of a litmus test throughout the book, and then some really specific strategies, like techniques, tools to use to bring it to life.
I could see why it fits a lot of the themes of Pitchfire, because we're literally telling people like, hey, pay for the right to sell to someone.
I know. Before we went live, I was like, based on your content, I think we're going to have plenty to jam about on this.
Well, the whole reason that I started this company with Vivian Spencer, my CTO, is like we were like seeing in the sales space that like the channels that we use to prospect just don't work anymore. Like if you cold call and cold email people, the downside is people get way too many emails now from I saw a stat last week that was crazy. 30% of messages that get sent now are being sent by AI. So like a human's supposed to earn that right and do the stuff you're talking about in your book,
30%.
but the road they're driving on has a bunch of broken holes in it because too many people are driving on it.
Well,
So
and
like
every single AI email is like, hi, Ryan, I see that you are the founder at Pitchfire. Here is my widget. Congrats on your Series A. Here is something totally unrelated to it.
yeah.
It's just that you can't freaking read somebody's LinkedIn profile to them and expect them to give a shit. But like people are being sold the dream that it's like great personalization through AI and 100% automation. And then they are just unleashing the spam cannons. It's making our buyers even more overwhelmed.
I call it the outbound paradox. So like what happens is companies send cold emails to people, and because response rates go down, the only way to make up for more to get more responses is to send more, which actually just makes it set respond rates go down even more. So
Flawed paradigm.
yeah,
For sure.
I'm trying to make like what the way we're approaching it is we're trying to make it you still should do prospecting, you still should do marketing, but I'm trying to like make this third channel that's in the middle that's like paid prospecting that you do in conjunction with this. Now here's the thing. If you're gonna pay someone to respond, you gotta put the right crap in your pitch. And that's kind of like I'm sure there's gonna be some great nuggets in there from you in the book about like what should you actually be saying, right?
Yeah, there are. I love talking about sales messaging. Like, it is one of my favorite
It's fun.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I think about sales messaging, I think not just what we're putting in our emails, but also like what we are saying in our cold calls, like how we are, crafting our openers, how we are creating scripts to strategically leave voicemails that link back to everything. Like, really, how are we optimizing our messaging to be super relevant to the person that is receiving it, so that they actually give a heck that we've given them a reason to respond. But
Why do you think today that like are reps just doing this because of bad teachers? Like, is it kind of like the Cobra Kai message? There's no such thing as a bad like. There's a bad student. It's only bad teachers. Is that what's making people do this?
I think it's so many things. there's an evergreen problem with bad sales leadership in sales. Like that is not new though, but that is still part of the problem.
Hmm.
I think today we have a lot of reps that joined sales, particularly like tech SaaS sales during the growth at all costs era. And so they are simply not used to what it feels like to sell in a tougher market. So it feels a lot tougher because it is a lot tougher,
Yeah.
but like you just get over it. Like we're not ever, or at least I don't think we're going back to that like growth at all costs, sort of time that we were in. I think that's part of it. I think the proliferation of tech stack is part of it, is that reps have either only known a world where they had like a 27 part tech stack,
Hmm.
or they've just gotten really really used to it, and so we've forgotten maybe some of the like the scrappiness, the inventiveness, like the creativity that is required to find the right people at the right time on the right channel with the right message.
Yeah.
I
It's
like
art. It's art. It's art. It's not
yeah,
science.
I think it's very nuanced. Like I think it's a lot of, I don't think, I know, right? Because we live and breathe this world, that it is a lot of factors that are compounding that have left reps and sales leaders have left them in a frame of mind where like I think that it feels safe to do the things they've always done, even though they know they don't quite work anymore, but they like sort of work. And to your point, because they sort of work, instead of trying something new that might work better, they just do more of the thing that only sort of works because it used to work, and they know it used to work because they personally did it. So I think that we are gonna go through some tough times in like the next 18 months, as we'll continue to see a real onslaught of
Hmm.
AI driven, like spam the TAM style outreach. And then I think we will see a swing back a little bit. I mean, the good news for somebody like me is that like I have repped cold calling hard. Like in 2018, people used to bully me on LinkedIn for saying that cold calling was like my number one favorite channel. And now everybody's like, oh my God, cold calling, it's so great. But like repping that multi-channel approach, like being such a like an expert and an advocate for cold calling, being so passionate about writing sales messaging that actually matters.
Yep.
Well, there is a sense of overwhelm and our prospects are frazzled. I also find in looking at my own inbox and auditing, hundreds of sales messages every year, that the bar is still pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, most of the messages that get sent to Pitchfire, because we can see them. Like when someone uses our buyers on our end will use a plugin, and if they get pitched, they can send someone somewhere to send a pitch to them. I'll see some of the emails people send, and it's like, come on, man, you're not earning this. You're like half-assing it a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
the- it should be fun to look at a cold email. Like that's what it actually should be. It should be fun to get cold called. I remember one of the best cold calls I ever had. Sorry, we're like talking a little over. I feel like a jerk, but just really into this conversation. One of the best cold calls I ever got was from a rep at Vidyard. The guy's name was Kenny. He cold called me, and he was like, I was at the library. I actually was at a library because I was trying. Our AC at my house broke, so I was like working on stuff at Lead IQ at the library, and he was like, I'm like, hey, I answer the phone whispering, I'm like, hey, I'm at the library. Who's this? And they're like, hey, it's Kenny from Vidyard. Can you talk? I'm like, you don't have to whisper. You're not in the library. And we laughed. I went outside and talked to him, and he literally was like, hey, I saw you did this music video campaign thing like 5 years ago at Dine before there was video prospecting. We built something to make that way easier. Can we talk a little bit about this? And we talked for like 20 minutes about video prospecting and stuff. He had done his research and earned it. And the thing I was pumped about is like, oh, cool, this guy knows me. And
Yeah.
back then, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like back then, people didn't know me that well yet and some stuff. I mean, still it's like that, but you know what I mean? Like, it's still kind of cool to be like, oh, someone knows who I am and stuff already. Like,
Yeah.
that there is a little bit of a buzz to that happens, and you can do the same thing with the people you're prospecting.
For sure. He made you feel seen And then he followed up making you feel seen with a conversation that was relevant and interesting to you. And it sounds like he also led with curiosity.
Yeah, and we ended up getting their software, and every SDR on our team used it, and we loved it. It was
Oh,
fun. We
that's so
did a lot of
cool.
we did a lot of cool stuff with it.
What a great story.
I got to get you back on here when your book comes out. So
This was fun.
let's we it's been emotional. It's been a roller coaster. We got to do some Zooms. We got to talk about some emotional things here. Leslie, where do you want people to go? You want them that? Where do you have a huge following on so many channels?
I
Which
know.
which channels do you want to
LinkedIn.
send them to? Okay.
I am a chronically online person. It is true. LinkedIn is my primary channel, so that's always the easiest place to find me. And then when this releases, the book link won't quite be up,
Yep.
but it'll be up like a week after, and it's at salesledgtm.com/book. Look at that. Look at that. Using a
Wow.
landing page. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Ryan.
Uh-oh. Hey, real quick, just to clarify something. Are you saying the book's going to be out in 2 weeks?
No, the pre-order link.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Just
I need
making
to
sure.
sell, just as a reminder, folks, I need to sell at least 3,000 copies. So if you could pop on over and purchase a couple.
Listen, guys, Leslie is in a huge hole. There is a person outside with a baseball bat asking for the book. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm sure it's a great book. I'm excited to check it
Like
out.
my publisher is just at the door right now. Like,
You're in Chicago, right, Leslie?
yeah.
Yeah, they're like Al Capone family is outside right now.
I mean, I live in the South Loop. So like his big hotel is just like two blocks down from me on Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, I need to talk to you more.
This is fun. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, it's great talking to you. When the book's back on, I'll find a way to sneak it on and have you come back on and stuff. Look for the
Yay.
pre-order link. Go follow Leslie on LinkedIn. Everyone on my end, 2 things I was going to mention. If you want to run some paid prospecting campaigns at some people and you've got a target list, shoot me a DM right now, Ryan@pitchfire.com, or you can shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. We're setting up some campaigns for people. Last month we sent about 51,000 paid pitches to people. I'd like to hit 100,000 this month. So if you're interested, shoot me a message and we'll deploy some paid prospecting for you. Leslie, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
Pitchfire!